Usually we take a look at cards that have become surprisingly expensive over time. Today we do the opposite. Joining me are Carl and Toffel. And boy, do I have a special one for you to start us off, especially you, Toffel, because Toffel actually told me about this card on an earlier episode of the show, where he told me how expensive it had become. But since then, it had fallen from favor. Exsanguinate reads, Black, Black, X. Each opponent loses X life, and you gain life equal to the amount of life lost this way. Now, back then, it was very expensive. In May of 2021, it cost a whopping €10 for an uncommon from Scars of Mirrodin.
Is that because it was popular in Commander?
It's always because it was.
That's the only reason cards cost anything.
Because I didn't see that card anywhere else.
Because if you have 3 opponents, you gain triple the life, right? And you also cause a bunch of damage, not as important, but yeah, it scales really well. What do you think? Where does this card stand today in terms of prices? We're looking at the 30-day average on Cardmarket.
So normally, if I didn't know we were talking about cards that went down in price, I tell you it's a Commander card, so it tripled, obviously. But I assume it's a lot cheaper now.
That's a solid guess by Carl.
Yeah, I've seen the thumbnail on the title.
You've seen the title, yeah.
So usually cards get cheaper only because they're really bad, which, I mean, the card was really bad before, so there was nothing that changed, or it got reprinted.
In this case, it was reprinted. I'll give you that.
If it got reprinted, what was the price before?
Did it get the greatest insult that cards ever get? Did it get downshifted to
not.
common?
Can it now be played in Pauper? Isn't it the greatest?
That's what I hear about mostly.
What was it before?
€10.
So, I don't know, if it's like in one of those funky Commander decks or sets, that could be €1 maybe, or even less.
I was gonna say 2.
All right, close one. But Carl is closer. The reprint right now goes for €1.79 on Cardmarket.
So it feels bad if you bought it right before the set.
Commander Masters 2023.
Wow.
So, yeah, just this year.
Felt bad, the price dropped.
So turns out when you listen to our old video about how expensive this card is and you got rid of it, we had the perfect timing.
Yeah, exactly. You sold it for
The magic of
That's why
hindsight.
you should watch all the videos.
Watch the videos and then sell your cards on Cardmarket. We did the logo justice.
For the second card, we have one of the 2011 tournament staples, Serum Visions. Everybody knows Serum Visions.
I've resolved so many.
Yes, 1 blue, draw a card, then scry 2. Fairly easy.
Simple.
Staple of many blue modern decks.
Yeah.
Popper.
In Pauper.
Yeah, in Legacy you have the better preordain.
But in Modern,
You have the better preordain.
Yeah.
The card was worth €14.20 on its high peak.
you should recheck. I don't think it was €14.
No, it's €14.20. Now it's
Oh, that was at the time. Okay.
a little bit worse.
A little bit.
How much worse?
You don't say.
There were reprints. I remember there was like Conspiracy, there was the FNM. The FNM promo back then was like, they're finally reprinting Serum Visions, but it's so rare, so it won't affect the price. I'll go with 150.
€14. I'll say 3.
Yeah, it's draw a card, then scry 2. I mean, how bad can that be? If you switch the order around, it's an unbanned card. You know, what does order matter? But nowadays you can get your playset for €2, meaning one card is about 50 cents.
That's so well. I remember chasing like a playset of Serum Visions for me was like a thing you needed for Modern, but it was semi-expensive.
Yeah, if you started a blue deck,
You played it in Splinter Twin, you played it in Blue-Eyed
But
Control,
Escape Shift.
Popper.
The price makes.
It's a good format.
If you've played Tournament Magic, you've heard of Serum Visions, but you've also heard of Tarmogoyf. Now, Tarmogoyf, it's almost funny to say. It used to be like the creature. Turn 2 Tarmogoyf, you couldn't get past. No chance any creature could hold up with a Tarmogoyf.
Ristic Studies made a video about Tarmogoyf and called it, unironically, and with due purpose, the king.
So,
This is the tone behind this card.
and it really was at the time. And at the time it was also the king of making modern decks expensive because in 2015 it cost €195.
So I remember at the Grand Prix Modern Masters 2015 or something, they were selling for like $80 and people go like, oh, I'm buying that because that will sell it when it's much higher.
So with the price of €195 in mind, what do you think the card is worth today?
So if you are of a certain age, this is where you want to turn off the video because it will break your heart.
Well, also if you still have your place.
If you still have Cardmarket on your wall because you were like nailed it at €80, they'll never be this cheap.
It can't be like less than 50.
So I know the price because we just did the best Modern Deck Ever series and I had to put the price in the video. And I know, and my heart melted.
I would say 40, 30, 44.
I saw about 15.
It's
15?
15.
1-5?
1571.
Oh my God.
Tell this to someone from 10 years ago or 5 years ago.
Because they were like, how will you ever beat the rate of a 2-mana 5/6?
Yeah, they just can't. It's so
Oh,
brutal.
apparently Fatal Push.
Fatal Push, yeah, it's quite a good magic card. So speaking of horrible mistakes, or not, it's not fair. You can't tell the future. We don't all have crystal balls.
You can't wait. You can't tell the future?
That's what I thought was our other segment about.
Carry on.
I have so many finance questions for Yamin.
I will
but
tell
in
you the future.
meantime,
We're talking about a new card.
Let's talk about card number 4, which is
It works.
Utopia Sprawl. Yes, very good.
And I will go more. We also talk about a 5th card in the future. And then there will
Let's
be...
stop the video after this one, Yamin. So, card number 4 is Utopia Sprawl, which, yes, it's seen some Pauper play, it's seen some Modern play, but most importantly, this is a card that's very powerful in Commander, because it's a 1-mana enchantment. You have to put it on a forest, though, but it costs green, so you usually have those laying around unless you only have a City of Brass. It lets you pick a color, any color, and you can tap that land for that color, and the one it taps for itself. So it's like a Birds of Paradise, but you can't target it with like...
Carl, yeah. Like, do you know the saying "bolt the bird"? What if you can't?
Bolt the Sprawl.
What
Do you know
if you
the
can't?
sign? Do you know the saying "sinkhole the land"?
No.
Strip mine is not allowed. Again, it's allowed, but
It's in Commander, right?
Yeah, but nobody
It's-
plays with you with
It's
strip mine.
such a crazy, powerful ram spell. But the reason it became expensive in the first place is more due to the non-reprints, right? It's a common. Why, like from Dissension, why would a common ever be this expensive?
I will remind you, Dissension was 20 years ago.
Something, but it has so many synergies. You can untap with the Arbor Elf. It gets Devotion. All of
You're
those things.
almost as old as Utopia Sprawl. And you've also not been reprinted. You must be mad expensive.
I am mad expensive.
So if you, Yamin, followed the price of Utopia Sprawl, as recently as 2021, you would be €17, 30-day price average on Cardmarket.
Wait, that's 2 years ago.
Yes.
I have bad news for you. You have 2 years.
Oh no. Okay, so why did it become expensive? Cheap.
It was in the
It was
bonus sheet.
Very
of Wilds of
recently,
Eldraine.
there's a set called Wilds of Eldraine,
Yes.
which did this
Yeah, of
fun whimsical
course.
thing that we actually all non-sarcastically enjoy when they did a whole bonus sheet, and every pack you open would have one random enchantment in this case.
The enchantments are so fun and really good
And the
reprints.
art is
like
really fun.
Exceptional reprints, like
And it-
Utopia Sprawl.
Yeah, and it made draft really like surprising. You get this weird like Blood Moon randomly, or
They suddenly have a Utopia. I'm kidding, but
Utopia Sprawl was amongst that sheet and is that common. So more often than you would get Exquisite Blood, for example, you would get a Utopia Sprawl, which was a good card in draft as well. Now, that meant there was a huge influx of Utopia Sprawls within the market.
Now,
It
how big was the
17.
influx?
How would you?
I
how
mean-
much would you think you would pay right now to buy a Utopia Sprawl?
the commons or uncommons of that sheet are very cheap. I'll say €2.
From 17 to 2? Wow.
Yeah, it's rough.
The thing is, the people who already have a Utopia Sprawl don't need anymore. So all the new people that want to get satisfied by this.
Let me tell you something about the most sold card on most weeks on Cardmarket. It's Soul Ring.
Soul Ring is there up there like
Almost every week.
I've learned from a video, Utopia Sprawl is half a Soul Ring. So how much is a Soul Ring?
€1-ish?
So half is euro. 50 cents.
All right.
So
Science.
50 cents, €2?
Hashtag science.
It's 80% of a Soul Ring, actually. So your math is wrong. It's 80 cents for a Utopia Sprawl. So the person who was like, cha-ching, got my value at €17 2 years ago when they played it with Omnath.
Funnily enough, Utopia Sprawl also one of the cards we showcased on this very show because it was so hideously expensive for a common.
Yeah, it was, and that goes to show it goes both ways. If you find expensive cards in your pile that you used to be cheap, it's probably worthwhile selling them at some point soon, not holding them on. It used to be a few years, maybe 2015, you'd have some modern staples and you'd be like, I'll hold on to these forever. They will never go down in value. And there's been a lot of cards being reprinted, and it's a good thing. It makes these cards available.
Especially for a card like Utopia Sprawl. People just want to build ramp decks in Commander. Come on, let people ramp.
No one wants to spend 17 euro for they spent a few cents for their Llanowar Elves, a few cents for their Arbor Elf, and then suddenly the third one of the 1 mana tap to pay a land is 17 euro. Why? It does the same thing.
Yeah, something very mean happened because a lot of the value of cards were stored into the reprintability. So if you had something like a god from Kamigawa, you know that it could not show up in any set because it needs to be in the setting of coming back. Now that they have this bonus sheet, they can add Doubling Season and Exquisite Blood and all of those things without having a reason to do that. This haven of safety is not there anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe when you're on the edge, you know.
So shall we prove Todd wrong and cut it here and just do 4 cards? If you're interested in that, comment below. Maybe leave a like.
Next time, we'll have the
6
length of the video. We'll just cut it off at a random
Thank
time.
you for watching. There's a subscribe button down below. We'd appreciate it if you clicked on it. Maybe you're hearing the music swelling. Are we going to end the video here? Who knows?
Wait, you actually clicked subscribe! Just for you, we'll do a bonus card.
So this is the 5th card.
This is the 5th card.
Or is it the 4th plus an extra?
It's the 5th card.
It's the first card
It's
of the bonus round.
I've seen it.
Our card is a staple of Standard back during Lorwyn Morningtide times, and then has made a return in Modern. It's Vendilion Click.
Oh,
Very
no. Not my Vendilion Click on this list.
Is
Oh,
it also
no.
a Pauper staple?
I can tell you it's not a Pauper staple, but the card was a Modern staple for eternity, and then multiple bad things happened. For one, Ren and 6 got printed, which deals 1 damage to a creature.
Yes.
Orcish Bowmasters don't help, but at that point it was already over.
Yeah.
It got reprinted quite a bit, actually at Mythic Rarity because it was so expensive. Also, the 3 mana 3/1 flyer just kind of didn't cut it in.
Probably also the elementals.
That took a card of your opponent's hand and
I mean, yeah,
Did
the
one back,
effect is crazy powerful. You kind of get to Thoughtseize your opponent.
or cycle one of your cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe also just the deck idea didn't exist anymore. There's no real control deck. You don't have those cards or better cards that you can use.
Yeah, and every card these days has kind of extra value. Like, just look at Brazen Borrower. It's a spell and the same kind of beater. So in July of 2014, you see it.
2014.
2014, 2015, the modern age, it was actually 74 euros.
74.
75. Sorry.
That's 74 soul rings.
I think I have spent.
Imagine a full 75 constructed decks. All soul rings.
This is usually my commander deck, so I have something all the time. So, I mean, it's never anywhere played. Like, nowhere.
Not anymore. At the time, almost any type of deck
70
would
euros?
play it.
74, yeah.
I say...
I remember
8.
spending about that as well at the time and thinking I killed it. So there's no way that it's lower than 10.
8 euros.
It lost 70 euros. It's €4.14.
This is...
This is a tragedy.
It's so painful. I remember buying those for 50 euros.
Yeah, I did as well. I thought I was killing it. At 55 euro, what a deal.
If there's one thing you can take away today, it might be that don't hold on to your cards forever, ideally, unless you're using them. Like, maybe treat them as game pieces, because you could, if you don't use them, you could trade them for other cards on a certain platform.
Yeah, and cards that you would use. A lot of speculation, especially for mid-level cards, things that aren't very, very old and pure collectibles. If their value is from their gameplay, and you're not using them for gameplay, maybe you trade them in for something you will use for gameplay.
So I have a question.
Yes.
This is a long-term plan thing. What do you think a Ragavan is worth in 10 years?
How many soul rings? In the
How
right
many
hand?
soul rings?
Okay, yes, very good.
How many soul rings
thinking
will
on Todd's
Ragavan be
level.
worth in 10 years?
And
I
then
mean,
in 10 years, we're gonna make a video about this.
We will. Oh,
Let us know what you think. How many Soul Rings a Ragavan will be worth in 10 years?
I'm so sorry, but I think it's going the way of the Vendilion Clique.
And the one closest gets a Ragavan. Or a Vendilion Clique. So, I don't know. Ragavan, I mean,
Yeah, it's going to be bulk rare. In 10 years?
bulk rare?
In 10 years?
What do you want to
Oh,
print on
10
the
years,
card?
10 years bulk rare.
10 years ago, they banned Wild Cattle. And now no one will ever play. No one will be caught dead playing a Wild Cattle.
Yeah, but you don't get shot in the head if you have like a wild Nakatl. You're still playing the game.
True. He does have a
when
point.
you cast a Vendilion Clique as well.
And I reckon with the Ragavan it will be similar, where you're still playing the game, but you're playing this regular rare from Commander Masters 2030.
So I would like to offer you a bet of 5 Ragavan that in 10 years, the Ragavan is worth more than 10 euros.
It seems like
So in 10 years, it's a downside for me because if I win, I don't get anything. 10 Ragavan.
10 Ragavan.
10 Ragavan.
Okay. Market, if we forget, write us an email.
Write us an email in 10 years from now.
People do that on Twitter. They have like a Twitter reminder.
yeah.
And then they say like, remind me in
We'll take a small snippet of this video. We'll post it on YouTube. We'll schedule it 10 years from now.
Can you schedule in 10 years?
You
Yeah.
can.
Very optimistic. Twitter wouldn't do that.
With that being said, if you subscribe, oh, actually, you're already subscribed. Anyways, now you'll get a notification in 10 years of this video going live.